Hello people, and welcome to Crypto Exposed. Pundit unveils why investors doubt XRP could reach $1,000. Interesting. Okay guys, let's get into it. So, this pundit in question is Common Sense Crypto, and I've actually got the post here in question. He posted it on X. And yeah, I had a read of this and I thought I'd just add my 2 cents into it because, as always, you know, I like to read what other people have to say, see if they can shed any kind of information when it comes to XRP hitting some of these figures, any reason that they can say that would maybe change my thoughts, because as you guys know, I don't really believe XRP can reach $10,000, or I'll be honest with you, $1,000 either. So I've got the post here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to read it out to you first and foremost, and then I'm going to give you my opinion to this post, okay? So, we have Common Sense Crypto, and he says, why do so many people doubt XRP could reach $1,000? 1. Non-belief. XRP never moves and no bank will use it. 2. Previous market cap and cycle will never change. 3. Belief that 100 billion XRP is too much. 4. They will create their own system, no need for XRP. 5. Ripple will always manipulate the price by selling. But the fact followers see XRP reaching 4 digits and beyond, and they look at these 5 narratives as FUD and BS. So who do you believe, the narratives or the facts? The choice is yours. Hopefully you make the right one before time runs out. Alright, okay guys, so let's get into this. So, the first thing I'm going to say about this post that I have a bit of an issue with is this. Okay, so you've given your 5 reasons as to why people don't believe XRP is going to reach $1,000. But where's your counter arguments, right? Like, it's all good saying, okay, these are the 5 reasons why people don't believe XRP will reach $1,000 and then just dismiss it as FUD. But where's your actual counter arguments to back up why you believe it will reach $1,000, right? And my second issue with this, I'll be honest with you, it's the FUD part of this that he said, right? Like, I'm noticing, well, I mean, it's been going on pretty much since the beginning of crypto. Like, when people haven't really got a good counter argument for what people can put forward as a rational explanation, they just dismiss it as FUD, right? For example, I've done it on my channel numerous times. I've given extensive reasons as to why I don't think XRP will reach $10,000. I've given actual examples, evidence, etc. to back up my points. And then, you know, some of the commenters who don't like the fact that I'm saying this will say, oh, you're just spreading FUD. And it's like, I'm actually giving you logical reasons as to why I don't think this is possible. How can you say that it's FUD? I'm actually giving you logic and reason, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I've said this all the time because I am fair and I'm actually open-minded, unlike how, you know, some people are. They just think what they believe is right and they won't accept anything else that counters that thought. I've said if you can provide good logical reasons as to why it can reach these figures, I'm all ears. I will listen. And if you can give me a good explanation and say this is why, I'm actually willing to change my mind. However, the whole time I've been doing this, no one has come up with a plausible explanation yet. Nothing that would make me change my beliefs, right? So when people just say, oh, you know, this is just FUD, to me, it's very dismissive. And to me, it shows me that you haven't really got much of a counter argument. It shows me that you just haven't got a lot to say. So straight away, the fact that it's not really been backed up with any kind of counter arguments to these points, it kind of says a lot to me, to be honest with you. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to get into each point and break down my opinion on each point that is made as well, okay? So let's get a little bit more specific. Okay, so 1, first and foremost, non-belief. XRP never moves and no bank will use it. Okay, so first and foremost, non-belief. Well, if it's a thing where you just don't believe it because you just don't believe it, I think that's silly, I'll be honest with you. I don't think XRP will reach $1,000, but I actually have reasons as to why I don't think it will reach $1,000. If you're just saying like, oh, XRP never performs, well, we already know that XRP in 2017 was the biggest performer. So I'll be honest with you, I think that's silly, because if you don't think XRP ever moves, then even if you think XRP could reach, let's say, double digits, like $10, for example, $50, or even triple digits, because I do think triple digits is possible. Well, why would you even believe that can be possible then, if XRP never moves, in your opinion, right? So if you're using that logic, I have to admit, I don't think that's a good argument. I don't think that's a good argument to use, because you're basing your opinion off of emotion, right? You're just basing it off of frustration as of XRP not moving at the moment or when you want it to. So I accept that is a bad argument. I agree. Okay, no bank will use it. Well, first and foremost, let's just face facts. Banks are using it, right? We know that for a fact. Like, Ripple have partnerships. We know there are banks using ODL as I speak. So we know that's not true. Now, if we talk about, no bankers in, you won't have the bigger banks using it. Well, I'm going to refer back to a video that I've done not so long ago with David Schwartz. And David Schwartz actually said himself, like he said, look, banks won't be Ripple's success story. He said that verbatim. And he also said in a space, look, ODL hasn't been as successful as we would hope. So, taking those two things into account, I'm not saying I think ODL is a failure. I just think it's going to be a much longer time frame for it to be as successful as Ripple envisioned it to be. So, again, like when we're talking about, XRP getting like all the banks using it, because this was what he said. He said, look, we got the banks in terms of like the partnerships, but then when it came to them actually saying, okay, let's start moving the money, let's actually start using XRP, the banks are like, we're not really ready to get with that just yet. So it looks cool, maybe it's a thing where they want to look like they're embracing, moving with the times, embracing new technology. But when it actually came to saying, okay, let's actually start utilizing XRP now, like start using ODL properly for its purpose, the banks were like, not so fast, right? And he said, look, banks are very slow to adopt. They're very slow to execute. So this is the problem. Yes, they've got partnerships, but some of the bigger banks, I think they're very much used to what they're used to. It's kind of like if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? So yes, we can look at the old legacy system and say it's not as good, it's out of date. Yes, but it works. That's the thing. And so I think the way they look at it is they're scared to embrace the change, because it's like, okay, well, what if this new technology has issues and things like that? So they're very slow to adopt to these things, right? And, I always use, when I'm talking about crypto, I liken it to the internet, because that's what it's like. If you think about the internet, where it is now to where it was when it first came out, it's very different. It takes time for it to really evolve. And I think that's what it is with crypto. And so, again, when we talk about ODL, XRP, etc., I think for it to get to that point, I think it is going to take time. I do not think it's going to be an overnight thing, which is, again, why I don't believe in these figures like $1,000 or $10,000, right? So, in terms of no bank will use it, I'm not going to say no bank will use it, but I think in terms of, getting the big adoption that people dream of and think is going to happen, well, what's your time frame in that? Because I don't think it's going to be as quick as people think. When people keep talking about like flip the switch in 2025, for example, I mean, let's be honest, we've heard this. I've heard this from when I joined into crypto, because XRP was the first cryptocurrency that I actually purchased. It was the first one that I got involved in. And I've been hearing since I got involved, XRP was going to take off, and that's going to be like 2020, if I remember rightly, something like that. So I've been hearing dates since then about how XRP is going to blast off, and nothing's come to fruition, right? Nothing at all. So when people talk about this whole, flip the switch with ODL and stuff like that, no, I'll be honest with you, I don't think it's going to happen like that. And so, yes, I agree in terms of no bank will use it that's a very big stretch to say that. I don't think that's right at all. But in terms of thinking, when banks will use it, well, my only thing I'll say to you in that sense is like, how long are you willing to wait, right? Like if you're talking like maybe years from now, yeah, cool. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that in a negative way, because you have got to be patient with investing. But my thing is, I know a lot of people are thinking about this in very short term, and this is where the hype stuff comes in when they think, they're just waiting to just flip this switch, like all the banks are ready and all that kind of stuff. So that's just like the reality of it. So I'm just trying to give like that angle, right? Okay, let's get to number 2. Previous market cap and cycle will never change. I'm not exactly sure what he means by this, like previous market cap. I don't really know what he means. And then cycle will never change. He's talking about market cycles. I'm not entirely sure what he's getting at here. So I'll be honest with you. This one's a hard one to answer because I really don't get what he means by previous market cap. Is he talking about like what the market cap was before Ripple have been, releasing XRP from the escrow? So he's saying like, more XRPs coming to circulation now, diluting the market, etc. In terms of cycles, I'm assuming he just means market cycles. That's my only assumption that I can make. But even if we're talking about market cycles, one of the things that all these analysts always refer back to is the monumental price pump that XRP had in 2017. So what is he saying here? I'm not exactly sure what he's referring to as to why XRP won't reach $1,000. Like, is he referring back to the previous bull run where XRP didn't surpass its all-time high? Because if that's the case, well, we all know it's because of the SEC versus Ripple lawsuit. So again, if that's what he's getting at, I agree. That's a poor argument. I completely agree. Okay, so number 3, belief that 100 billion XRP is too much. Okay, so in regards to this, I'll be honest with you, I do agree. I do agree with this point. The amount of XRP that is available for XRP to get the kind of price that we're talking about, it would be ridiculous, right? For it to reach $1,000. And people keep trying to dismiss this, but like they're ignoring the blatant obvious, right? Because this is the argument that I always see people say. Nobody believed that Bitcoin would be able to go to like, $1,000, etc. Now look where it is. Yeah, but look at the supply of Bitcoin compared to XRP, right? There's only like 21 million Bitcoin in circulation. So Bitcoin is vastly more scarce than XRP, right? So I've done this on a previous video. I should have probably had it up, but you can compare market caps from Bitcoin to XRP, right? And if XRP had the same market cap as Bitcoin, and I did this when it was like in the $60,000 range. If XRP had the same market cap as Bitcoin in the $60,000 range, I think XRP was, I want to say it was around like $10 or something like that. It was significantly smaller. So this is what I'm trying to make people understand is like, even if the same amount of money that's in Bitcoin right now flowed into XRP, it's not going to equate to XRP getting to the same price ranges as Bitcoin. And this is what people don't understand. And this is why when I think it could go to this kind of, valuations, it's like, you've got to understand how much money we're actually talking about for it to get to those kind of levels. So to be honest with you, I do agree with that. And that's one of the killer arguments as to why it wouldn't happen, to be honest. But again, a lot of people don't want to just acknowledge this. They just think all the money, this is when they start using those buzzwords and know what you hold, all the money, and XRP just moving everything and thinking that, absolutely everything that's crypto related is just going to be on XRP and nothing else, which is ludicrous, but some people believe that. So yes, number 3, I completely agree with that. 4, they will create their own system, no need for XRP. So I'm not so sure that I agree with that. I don't think people will create their own system, but it's like, for example, even with people who are testing out CBDCs and stuff like that, they're testing it on a private ledger, right? Yes, they've used the XRP ledgers, like the base template, but it's a private ledger. So yes, they're not necessarily creating their own system, but they're not necessarily using it all on like the XRP main ledger, right? Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I do think a lot of this is like optics. So I do think if you hear like, okay, all the central banks are working with Ripple for XRP, etc., that's still going to be incredible, even if they're using a private ledger, because they know that XRP is being utilized, which obviously makes it seem like it's the choice for these central banks. They could still be using it as a bridge currency via ODL, etc. So there's still things that will obviously add to the value, but it's not quite as impactful as they are, directly using the XRP ledger. And this is kind of similar to ODL. Like, this is what a lot of people don't understand. Like, ODL being used is not what drives the value. Like, ODL is demand neutral, and they actually said this in the court document recently. Like, they've said, using ODL doesn't create any kind of value for XRP. Why? Because it's brought and it's sold. It's not just brought, right? To do XRP, to use it as a bridge currency, you have your one currency, it goes into XRP, it then gets sold into the other currency, and then it's passed on. So XRP is brought and sold. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. So in terms of like the create their own system, not saying that that's necessarily going to happen, but I do believe that even if they don't have their own system, it doesn't necessarily mean that like for example, it doesn't mean that Ripple is going to be like the new Federal Reserve, which is what I've seen recently. I've seen people saying that, XRP and Ripple is going to be the new Federal Reserve system, which again is just ludicrous. It's just not going to happen. Okay, 5. Ripple will always manipulate the price by selling. Yeah, I disagree with this, to be honest with you. I don't think Ripple are manipulating the price. They're paying for their business fees, etc. I've addressed this recently already, so I won't get too deep into it, but I do agree that that's not a fair point to use. I don't think that is the truth. But could the selling be an issue? Well, yeah, this is something I've also addressed. Like, I'm not gonna act like them selling XRP is just greatly positive, but I also think they're using it for business expenses, which is to help get XRP utilized, right? Because it's part of their business model. So, for example, if they're like trying to get banks involved in using XRP, so they're paying for, things for XRP to do. So, for example, like the AMM and stuff like that. These are all different types of utility that banks could look at and think, oh, okay, this is, stuff that we might be interested in, etc., etc., which could help them ultimately get partnerships and ultimately have them utilizing XRP. So, I think like with this, you have to accept the good and the bad. The selling obviously isn't great, but if Ripple create this great use case for XRP, even better than ODL, for example, well, that's going to be value coming into XRP. So, you've got a huge company here who are fighting for XRP to do well. So the rough is, yes, they're having to sell for business expenses, but the good is you've got this huge company, one of the biggest crypto companies out there, who are trying to get XRP adopted. So, good and the bad. So that's my overall opinion on this, but what do I think? Just hearing these facts, and it's hard to really say anything about what Common Sense Crypto is saying because he's not given any counter. So if he'd actually given any kind of counter, I would actually, look at the counter arguments and debate that kind of thing. But he's not given any counter, and that's why, like, for me, with this post, okay, it's cool that you've said this, but you've not given me anything to really look at as to why I could say what you're saying is right. Because all he said is, oh, this is just FUD and it's BS. And it's like, I think people have got to stop just using FUD as just an excuse to dismiss things. Like, you've actually got to give good arguments, because if you just say FUD, it's just not extensive enough to back up what you're saying. And, like, even if we break down what FUD is, like fear, uncertainty, and doubt, right? Okay. Let's just say, for example, right, we heard Ripple was going bankrupt, right? And they were going to stop, supporting XRP, for example, right? Would you call it FUD if you was then worried about XRP's future? If Ripple was going bankrupt and then you're thinking, okay, this is the biggest company who are the developers on the XRP ledger and they're going bankrupt, would it be rational to then have fear, uncertainty, and doubt? I would say so, right? But if people just say, oh, can you stop spreading FUD? It's like, well, that's a reasonable reason to have FUD, right? But this is what I'm saying, like, people just dismiss things as FUD, even when there's a logical reason to have FUD, right? But even in this instance, I don't really class this as FUD, I just class it as logical reasoning, right? Like, I've got perfect reasoning as to why I can say I don't think this is going to happen. It's not FUD, it's just logic to me and evidence and data that tells me that this isn't really likely going to happen. So, it's a good post, and, it's something that obviously for me, I always like to have these little thought exercises because it keeps me thinking about, what I believe and whether my mind frame will change. But up till now, it really hasn't. So, it's a good post, but for me, my opinion hasn't changed. But what do you guys think? Common Sense Crypto explaining why people believe XRP cannot reach $1,000. Let me know your thoughts, guys. I'd be interested to hear. Thank you very much for watching this. If you did like it, please remember to drop a comment, like, and subscribe. But until next time, take care.